Hey guys, Ronnie here. This week's episode is brought to you by NelsieSpencer.com. Everything Nelsie Spencer and Losing It is on NelsieSpencer.com. There you can find links to Nelsie's book, movie, and classes. Take Nelsie's writing classes or get one-on-one coaching and sharpen your writing skills. Take classes like screenwriting class and novel writing first draft. If you'd like to support the show, grab a couple things at the Losing It merch store where we have mugs, t-shirts, hoodies, hats like this one, the one I'm wearing, and much more. If you're watching this on YouTube, check out links to NelsieSpencer.com and other things such as the links to our equipment we use and all our social handles in the description down below. And if you want to contact us, tell us you love us, hate us, want to tell us you're losing a story and possibly have Nelsie read it on the show, email us at losingitcontact@gmail.com.
Losing it, losing it, losing it, losing it, losing it, losing it, losing it. If you got a story, we don't care if it's happy or gory, so come share your losing it story with us.
Hola, bonjour, hello, how are ya? I'm Nelsie. This is Losing It, the podcast where guests come on and tell a story with a losing it theme, and I'm here with Ronnie Whaley. Hi, Ronnie.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good.
I don't know why. Every time you make me laugh when you say hi, because I always feel you're like hi, like you're not sure.
Wait, you know what it is? Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah, I'm not sure because I'm like, oh, I'm just going to say the same thing I say every week. I should do something different. But then I don't. But then I think that when I say it.
Right. So you end up saying exactly the same thing in the same tone.
Thing. Yeah.
And so the subtext of your hi is, fuck, I didn't come up with anything new.
yeah, exactly. That's 100% true. That's what it is.
Yeah, because there's always a little, there's confusion and fear behind your eyes every time.
Yeah, I know. I need writers. That's what I need. Yeah.
We need a staff. We need a staff.
Yeah.
Well, you know, my version of something different is hola, bonjour. So I wouldn't worry. I wouldn't worry.
Okay.
Yeah. If they're not coming for the salutation, or if they are, they are fucked.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Come on. So, how the heck are you? Which I ask you every week. You're good.
I'm good.
Tell me what's up.
I'm good. Yeah, no, I'm just good. I'm just super busy. This is a busy time for me right before leaving. It's actually hectic. Is crazy. It's really crazy.
Hectic. Yeah, Ronnie texted me yesterday. I hope it's okay that I say this. And he was because we interview that we're doing the intro outro for now, that we're about to introduce. He just texted me. He's like, yeah, can you do it? I have to nap. And I was like, of course, honey. Of course. You got it. No worries. Oh my God.
Yesterday, I only slept 3 hours.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
And then today, I've been up for a while. I've been up for a very long time. But this is the last thing I have to do today. So
yeah. So who can expect an original sounding hello?
Yeah, exactly. I had 4 podcasts today. Yeah.
Oh my God, you're vertical. That's the miracle there. You're vertical. Come on.
Yeah.
Oh God, I had a client today who was kind of giving me a hard time. I mean, she's great. I like her, but I was like, okay, so next Tuesday. She's like, no, Monday. I was like, okay, so we're doing Mondays and Fridays. No, Mondays and Thursdays. And like, she's like, really, girl? Like, I'm like, I wanted to take a screenshot of my calendar and send it to her and go, just check this out. Okay. And I'm not complaining. I'm very lucky. I get to do this podcast. I get to do 2 podcasts with you that I love. I'm working on a 3rd one with Cardi. I have all these clients that I adore. Like, it's not like, you know, my calendar doesn't say shovel coal on it ever. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Not a lot of people's calendars say that.
Coal miners or coal shovelers. I mean,
they need to remember that.
Yes, exactly. I mean, the worst thing I had to do today was pick up some dog poop, you know?
Not so bad.
And it wasn't with my bare hands, so, you know, it was okay.
Yeah. It wasn't even your dog.
It was all right. No, it was my dog. It was my dog. I'm not picking up other people's dog poop, although I have on occasion. Sometimes, like if I'm walking Rudy, or not Rudy, because Rudy's been dead for years now, but if I'm walking Callie and for some reason I don't have a bag, which doesn't happen very often.
Yeah.
The next time I walk her, I clean up her poop and somebody else's poop. Like I'm trying to make up for the, right? That's good, right?
Yeah. Sure.
Ronnie's like, you're weird. You're weird, lady. So aside from being crazy busy and not getting any sleep, what's up? Anything?
No. It's not really. No.
Well, I have something that I tried to discuss on What If Nothing's Wrong, and I was shot down by Heidi. So I don't know what if it's going to end up. I mean, God, she's the meanest social worker I've ever met. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I love her. And I think if I were her client, she'd be much, much nicer to me. She's like, Nelsie, I'm not a dog expert. Like, what? She looks at me, but I was talking about my feelings around the dog. So
Yeah.
that counts, right?
Yeah, you know what I think it was? That she felt like she couldn't do anything about it. So she felt like it wasn't worth doing anything worth like the time.
She could have at least given me the Eckhart Tolle quote.
She drops
Right?
it
If
in
you-
like frequently.
Come on. She could have at least said, if you don't like the situation, change it. If you can't change it, leave it. All else is If you can't leave it, accept it. All else is madness. Why couldn't she have just given me a little fucking Eckhart Tolle?
Yeah.
But the reason I want to bring it up is because Callie, my dog, as I think you guys all know, has some fear and anxiety issues. And I'm finally like, okay, I'm gonna solve this. And the other day, this woman comes that I met. She was my waiter at this restaurant, and her other job is that she's a dog trainer, and she meets Callie, and Callie lunges at her about 8 times, and she's like, no, I don't think I'm really the person for you. So, and then she refers me to this guy who does group deep immersion. I mean, listen to this. This is ridiculous that this is what I'm doing, right? I mean, it's
Yeah.
such a like first
Yeah.
world problem. But I love my dog. I love her. You know what I mean? I'm not going to get rid of her, and I can't rehome her, which I would never do anyway, because nobody's going to take a dog that's as aggressive as she is.
Mm-hmm.
So after several phone calls, including a phone call to the University of Pennsylvania that supposedly has a behavioral clinic, right? I'm now on my way to Ivy League schools to try and fix my dog,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And it turns out they don't do anything. They give the dog medication, and she's been on medication.
Mm-hmm.
I find a guy in my neighborhood who's a retired cop who has trained police dogs for 30 years.
How?
How did I find him?
Yeah.
My vet recommended him.
Oh,
Now, keep in
nice.
mind, I think my vet probably recommended him 2 years ago. And at the time, I was like, a behaviorist. To me, I just saw $5 signs. I was like, this guy's too expensive. And now I have some money. I might be able to afford it.
Yeah.
And so he's coming over next week to
Oh, really?
help me. Yeah, to help me become the alpha dog.
Interesting. I would like to know how he does that. Because I told you, I have that same problem.
You've
with
got
my
the pug.
Pugs. The pugs. Yeah, the pug, the leader of the pack of the 2 other pugs. It's the same aggression thing.
Yeah. Well, here's what he said. He said that when your dog is trying to protect you, it's because they think you're not doing that job. They're being the alpha dog in the pack.
Oh.
And you need to let them know that you got this.
Okay. How do you do that?
I don't know, but I will say, since I spoke to him, he said, you got to give a correction. I was like, well, what's a correction? I mean, like smack him. He said, no, we don't smack. He said a tug on the collar, right? Now that's if I'm walking her. But since I had this conversation, when I'm walking her now, if she starts to go, I'm much firmer. No, leave it. Like I'm trying to release
Assert dominance.
I'm trying to release my inner dominant canine.
Yeah.
And it's kind of working. And I haven't even met with the guy yet. I haven't even met with him yet.
Okay, that's a good sign.
Because I said to him, I was literally crying on the phone. Because I was like, can you fix my dog? I just, will I have a happy dog? He's like, you will have a calm dog. I was like, okay. I'll take
Really?
that.
He's guaranteeing this?
I said to him, "Can you fix her?" He said, "Well, let's put it this way. I just took a walk with a pit bull down the crowded streets of Asbury Park, New Jersey. No muzzle. The dog was fine in a crowded environment. When I first met with this dog, I had to feed this dog treats through a muzzle. That's how aggressive this dog was. I could not work with this dog that didn't have a muzzle on. So I'll keep you posted."
Yeah.
I mean, I got
please.
fingers and I will keep you posted.
All I got is a pug. It's not like it's a pit bull.
But look, he's going to teach me like tools and shit like that. So,
That's great.
So I'll keep you guys posted. And that's the deal. So we've got a good guest today, as opposed to the other weeks where the guests just suck. No, we always have good guests. We always have good guests. And this is another Ronnie guest. And this is another stand-up comic. And guess what? Guess where he's from? The Philippines.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got another Filipino. I'm like, man, we got like a represent here, which is fabulous. Anyway, his name's Kris Rubio, Kris with a K. I think he came to the US when he was 6. You guys are going to hear all that. Anyway, he's really funny, really a nice guy, and he's like human sunshine. You're going to really like him.
Awesome.
Check it out. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Losing It with Nelsie Spencer. Once again, I have an amazing guest. And if you guys aren't watching us on YouTube, you can't see that my guest is like I don't know, he looks like he's in a pretty cool studio. He's got a mic, he's got the headphones on his apartment. I'm in my office, but he knows his shit. This guy he's the funniest Filipino comic of all time. And he just had a pretty fabulous gig about stand up for diversity, which he'll tell us about. And he also has a podcast / streaming live show, which he'll also tell us about. But Ronnie found him, A, because he's funny, B, because he's interesting, and C, doesn't hurt that he's Filipino. We got a little Filipino community happening here. So welcome, Kriss.
Hello. Hello.
And his name happens to be Kris Rubio. Hey, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you, Nelsie?
I'm good.
By the way, I know I'm going to be completely transparent with you and your audience. Okay. It started late. This podcast, or was supposed
Chris
to be started early.
He fucked up.
I
really
messed up.
bad.
I took a look at I didn't see Eastern Standard Time. I thought it was Pacific Standard Time. I saw the EDT, like whatever the abbreviation was. I was like, okay, well, whatever that means. And it didn't ring to me until I was at the park walking around. Like, oh
shit. Well, the funny thing is, Eastern EDT stands for Eastern Daylight Time, because we're not on Standard Time. We're on Daylight Time now. But I write that because I don't know, because I want to be right and I'm stubborn. And people are like, what's EDT? Well, it's not Eastern Standard Time. We're on Daylight Time. So the like sort of perfectionist in me is like, don't you know that?
Yeah,
but you're not the first.
It's so weird because on my info to get my live stream, I put 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time.
Right.
So you would think you'd
be paying attention.
But I don't. I'm so sorry.
It's okay. But guess what, honey? Guess what? You're not the first. You will not be the last.
Okay, good.
Just saying.
I'm running on Filipino time. If you guys don't know, Filipinos, we're notoriously late for things.
I did. Well, I will say,
I don't know if Ronnie's the same way, but
I feel like Ronnie and I take turns being late. Either I'm texting him, I need 5 minutes, or he's texting me, I need 5 minutes.
But who's more late? You could be transparent.
I feel
you
like
do?
I do. I feel like, because you know what, I gotta put this doesn't come easy. Like I have to put makeup on, and I have a little vanity going on. So but Ronnie shows up. He's just got his hair under a beanie and a t-shirt, right?
Yeah.
Like you, Kriss. No offense, but
men will be simple. You know what I mean? Men will be men.
They're so simple. They're such lovely, simple creatures. I hope I don't get letters.
Yeah, this is exactly what I wore to my wedding, by the way. Just I was just kidding. But
your wife would have. Don't
hold it against me if I did, though.
So Ronnie found you, and I watched a little bit of videos of you, and you're kind of. So tell me a little bit about yourself. You said that you're such a Los Angelino, a Californian, but are you originally from the Philippines? Were you born there?
I'm originally from the Philippines. I came here between 5 years old and 7 years old, somewhere between that phase. And I went straight to Los Angeles. I lived in Koreatown, Los Angeles. And then around, I think 9 or 12, I moved to Glendale, which is a suburb of Los Angeles, of course. And then I moved to Burbank, which is like the next city over. So I've pretty much been Los Angelino.
Yeah, that's all at Los Angeles. I'm from Southern California.
Are you?
Yeah,
What part?
I grew up in Palos Verdes, which is just south of Torrance Beach. If you go down the yes, so that's where I grew up.
So where are you at now?
Right now, I am in New Jersey, the Garden State.
Oh, New Jersey, hey!
Oh, New Jersey gets such a bad rap, or good rap, depending on how you look at it. But I lived in. It's you like New Jersey.
I like New Jersey. I've never been there, but from everybody that I've known that's from there or that constantly goes there, yeah, they love the city. Actually, one of my friends just recently moved there from California, who's a good comedian friend of mine by the name of Brandon. I forgot his last name, but he basically moved there just to work at he's a caddy at a golf course over there.
Wow. And those caddies, they can make some change.
My goodness.
Right? Yeah. You got rich people tipping well. Well, I grew up in California, Southern California, and then I moved to New York when I was 22, and I lived there and had kids, and I did stand up for a while, but mostly I was an actor and a writer. And I moved down the shore, as they call it, to the Jersey Shore about, my God, it's been 9 years now. So yeah. Yeah.
Do you like the East Coast better than the West Coast?
It's not to make a cliche, but it's apples and oranges,
Yeah, it really is. Right?
And New York being the Big Apple and California growing a lot of oranges. They are so different. I love them both. I feel like New Yorkers love to hate on, LA and vice versa. And I just think, how do you beat California? It's got the ocean, it's got the mountains, it's got the forest, it's got the desert,
Yeah, it got everything, I think the only thing that's lacking from LA, let's say if you compare LA, New York, is just the amount of hustle that you have to do as a New Yorker just to get by on every day. Over here in California, it's expensive here too, but
it's a little more mellow.
At least it's way more mellow. You live in your car basically. Over there in New York, you're just hustling and people on top of each other,
Yeah. I lived there for over 30 years and I loved it. And when I left, I thought, oh my God, I got to go back. And now,
yeah,
I not that I don't miss it, but I don't want to live there again, which I didn't think would happen. But I live in California. My daughter's out there, so yeah.
In LA specifically,
she's in LA. She works at Warner Brothers.
What?
She's in the business of show, baby. Yeah, she's doing it.
Tell her to hook me up. Tell her to get me in front of the big folks.
Yeah. Okay.
In front of the people that make it happen. Yeah. Make it happen tomorrow, Nelsie, please.
I will so totally make it happen, Kriss. And then all I'll take is 10%. That's it. So, once happens.
I'd give you 10.5.
Okay. So tell me about your podcast and your streaming, but then I also really want to hear about how you got into comedy and this show that you were just on, this Stand Up for Diversity.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So I guess let's start with the podcast first. The podcast is a podcast / live stream that goes on every Tuesday and Saturday at 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. You see what I did there, Nelsie? Pacific Standard Time. And basically on Tuesdays, I just pick 8 articles, 1 article from politics, 1 article from technology, 1 article from entertainment, just different parts and a trending YouTube video. And I try to make it funny. I try to give my comical commentary on things, and on Saturday I do the same thing, but there's a music improvised element into it because I'm you could say a musical comedian when I perform live. So
So how does that musical element come in?
How does it come in? It comes in like short form songs, of course. It comes in as sometimes I'll put some sound effects. I've got a thing called a loop station. I don't know if you know what a loop station is. It basically just records my voice, and what I do is I beatbox sometimes, and I rap over I'll loop my beatbox, and I'll rap over it. So
that sounds pretty original.
Yeah, I mean, I've got the idea from like Reggie Watts, Mark Ribier, which are considered the godfather of this kind of looping comedy.
Okay, so I'm just not in that loop, no pun intended. So okay, I'm going to check it out. And we'll mention this again, and it'll also be in the notes. But where can people follow you?
People could follow me on my YouTube channel at Kris Rubio Artist. I'm always posting videos there, and also on my Instagram and Twitter handle. They're all the same across the board at Kris Rubio Artist. Kris being spelled K-R-I-S, Rubio Artist.
Yeah, and is that a Filipino thing, that K-R-I-S? Because I always think of that as being like Scandinavian or something.
Yeah,
right?
I don't know. I often think about why my name is spelled, because my full name is Christopher, Kristoffer. And I tell people that, and every time I tell them, I always say, I think my parents were drunk.
I was going to say.
Because, your normal Kris spelling is C-H-R-I-S. That's your typical Kris, So I don't know why. I don't know if they're trying to be different, but I do love my name. The way it's spelled is because it's Kris. It's like it's typical too to have a Christina with a K.
Look, the name Kriss originally is from Christ. We know this, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that is spelled C-H-R-I-S-T. So I know there's a big Catholic population in the Philippines. Are your parents Catholic?
Oh man, are they Catholic? Oh my goodness, are they Catholic? I still remember, even though when I came here when I was 6 or 7, I do remember my house in the Philippines. Like, you couldn't turn your head without seeing the Virgin Mary statue there, or without seeing a crucifix, a cross, And then
you're turning a corner, you're like, "Oh, Mary, sorry, I didn't know you were in here."
Yeah. And did you grow up Christian, Catholic?
I grew up Episcopalian, but not really. Both my parents were pretty much atheists.
Yeah, well, let me tell you, out of all the religions, okay, I'm talking about Protestants, Christians, I would say Catholicism is the most, look.
You can say
it was the most boring mass. It was boring. It was like sometimes I'll take a look at my Christian friends, like, oh, you guys are singing, you guys are smiling, you guys are having a good time. And all of a sudden I'm in my church, like, kneel, sing. And it was the most,
and in Latin sometimes, right? Oh, Domino, whatever, right? Yeah, no, there's not a lot of joy.
Everything was serious.
I know.
And then, I'll take a look at, some Christian church. Baptist. I'm like, you guys are having a good time over there.
Yeah,
what's going on the other side of the city?
Right. Yeah. No, Catholics are a little on the serious. I mean, look at the nuns. You know what I mean? They're wearing a lot of black. There's not a lot of dancing and laughter. Is my impression. And
I think I brought it up to my parents one time. I'm like, hey, could we be Christians for like a couple months?
Could we let go of this whole Catholicism thing?
Yeah. Push that on the side. I mean, it's still the same dude, still the same guy.
Right. I still dig Christ. Yeah, I just don't want to do the whole incense and the wafer. Come on, guys. Let's lighten it up a little bit. I'd like to sing, maybe hit a tambourine.
Maybe that,
So how long have you been doing stand-up?
Oh man, I always say over 10 years. To be accurate, probably since 2002, 2003.
Honey, you're getting close to, we're talking 18 years. Forget over 10.
Yeah, I always say 10 plus just by default. That's what I say, because I never just want to say 18, It's I'm not saying that it's a depressing number or something like that. It's just like, I don't really want to tell people exactly how many years I'm doing comedy, but at least with 10 plus, we're like, oh, well, this guy's been doing 10 plus years. So
yeah,
I guess
first of all, I mean, I say this every time I have a comic on, that it's so hard. And it's not like it's just hard to be funny, because most people that are comics are naturally funny. It's not about that it's hard to be funny. It's hard to be funny consistently, and then to get your ass up on stage so many times a week, have new material. I mean, the life is challenging. And that's why I couldn't do it. I mean, I loved being funny. I loved the whole back and forth with the audience. I didn't have the dedication that it takes.
Yeah. Like I've always been driven to do stand up. I mean, if I'm not booked for a show, I'm doing a mic, you know what I mean? I'm always testing out new jokes. And this is, I'm such a stand-up comedian enthusiast, and I would say hardcore guy, that I'm like, if you don't want to do this for the rest of your life, if you don't picture doing this, like, sorry, I often say, you've got to picture this as this is what you're going to do when you're going to die. You know, I mean, that's the amount of dedication that you have to have in your head for you to actually succeed in this, you know?
No, because it's so competitive, and the lifestyle is really challenging. I mean, you have
the lifestyles, yes.
You have to have a certain personality to be able to do the lifestyle. I just had Jackie Cation on. Do you know Jackie?
Yeah, I love her.
Oh, I so love her so much. And she's like, I mean, and I always say this, and I feel this about comics, you know, they just have, you know, the work ethic and the dedication and the passion that has to be behind it blows my mind. And I'm completely humbled in your presence, you know.
And by the way, okay, so I'm going to ask you a question, since you're a stand-up comic, or we're a stand-up comic and you did stand-up. Do you think most comedians are introverts or extroverts?
I think surprisingly, a lot of them are introverts.
Yeah. A lot of and that's why I feel sometimes when people ask me, like, you know, a person is funny with their friends, you know, they could be funny on stage. It's hard to transfer that, you know, because if you're if you're telling jokes with your friends, those are people you know. Think about doing that 5 times a week with complete strangers.
Yeah, and with strangers who might be looking at their phone, or who drank too much, or didn't really come to see you, came to see the comic behind you, or whatever. And it's like, man.
How many dive bars have you done?
Oh, let me tell you, I'm such a wimp, Kriss, that like I did a bunch of open mics and this was a long time ago in New York, right? Where it was like, I always went to my one little open mic that I was comfortable with. And it was Gladys hosted it. I can't believe I can't remember Gladys's last name. It was like at this little place called Hamburger Harry's. And then I did like a couple of like openings for like literally at a strip mall in Passaic, New Jersey. Do you know what I mean? Like, and then I did another little place that's not even there anymore on the Upper West Side. And I wouldn't say I bombed, but I didn't do great. And did I go out the next day? No, I didn't do another set for a year. Do you know what I mean? Because I had a lot of really good sets, you know what I mean? Like right off the bat. And by the time, once I bombed, I had like my ego was fucked up about it. I thought like, I've got this. So when I bombed, it really shook me. And you cannot let it shake you.
Actually, bombing is good for your health.
Good for your health as a comic.
Good for your health as a comic. It's like growing up. It's like being a kid and not being coddled when you're like playing outside. I mean, you get hurt, but you learn from those experiences.
Yeah, you get hurt and mommy kisses your knee and you keep going.
And comedians, we're like the lowest, we're like the bottom of the totem pole when it comes to performance. We're at the low, we're doing the most lowest thing, but at the same time, I feel like we're the most free. We're willing to say anything. We have no filter sometimes. And I think that's a great asset to have, you know? And I always say this to new comics too, do as many dive bars. That's why I asked if you ever did dive bar, because that is a boot camp. There's nothing more horrifying than being up there. You got a set of jokes you want to do. And some guy that didn't know there was a comedy show, some regular at the bar was like, I don't want to hear this. I just want to drink and listen to the jukebox. And they're heckling you.
Oh my God.
It's so horrible. And then you've got to get through these jokes, but sometimes you don't get through these jokes because you're 5 minutes, half of your set is you
talking to this jerk.
Heckler, yeah.
Yeah.
So
See, I did not have the fortitude for it. I did not have the fortitude for it.
you got to be built for this kind of stuff,
You got to be
man.
built for it, man. Absolutely. Absolutely. So talk to me a little bit about this Stand Up for Diversity, this show that you just did and that you were a finalist on. Talk to me.
Well, it was a stand-up competition for NBC Stand Up for Diversity. It was done in, I don't know how many cities, I think over plus 10. They had over, I think 500 comics audition for the Los Angeles division. And I was one of the lucky 8 that was... that performed one of them. I didn't win, but hey, I could put that peacock logo. I'd be like, hey, it's a credit.
Honey, one of 8 out of thousands of people that auditioned. That's amazing.
Yeah, so I was really fortunate, and it kind of confirm it. It feels good because you've been doing it for so long. If you've been doing something for so long and you get praise for it, it just validates what you're doing.
Absolutely. It's the universe saying, yeah, keep going. So do you do a lot of road stuff? Are you on the road a lot?
I do the road. I do the road constantly.
So if people go to your website, they can find your schedule.
Yeah, my website is down right now, but it will be up, KrisRubioArtist.com. But you can find me on Instagram. That's where I kind of post dates and stuff like that.
And we know dates. Good. Are you going to be doing any stuff in August or September?
I'm always doing something,
and I always say, guys, the pandemic, things have lightened up. I don't know if the pandemic's over. I kind of do. It feels like it. I'm not a doctor and I don't work for the CDC, but go out and support live comedy. Go out and support live theater. Go out and support dance. Go out and support music.
Yes.
Because these artists.
That is what we do.
Yeah.
And no disrespect to people that were doing Zoom comedy shows when this pandemic started. I mean, comedians had to do an outlet, but there's nothing that could substitute a real live audience that hates you live, There's nothing that can replace that.
I'm living off that hate.
By the way, could I say something too? As
Sure.
One of the most difficult things that I've done, that comedians have done, is I did stand-up comedy at a strip club.
Oh
okay.
My God, honey.
There's no way you could follow a completely nude woman. I remember this one time in Vegas, I did a thing called Sapphire Strip Club. There was a girl named Destiny, fully nude. And then she got done with her thing, and they're like, okay, give it up for Destiny. Now give it up for Kris Rubio. Hey guys, so I'm Filipino. It doesn't transfer.
Hi, I'm Filipino. I don't have a vagina and my clothes are on.
What's the next act? Get this guy out of here.
Oh my God. Oh, I'm like, my entire body is cringing. I couldn't do it. Okay. So do you have a story for me, Kriss? I think you have a losing it story.
Yes, I do. And it's related to stand-up comedy.
I thought it might be. Good.
Yeah. So when I was doing stand-up, I first started as an original traditional stand-up. I think between year 6, 7 or 8, I watched the video by the comedian Reggie Watts, and Reggie Watts was using this musical loop station to make songs and whatnot. I'm like, this is genius, because I want to incorporate music into my comedy. It's just I didn't want to learn to play the guitar. I hated the guitar. I hated the keyboard. I didn't want to learn music theory and that stuff. So I was like, oh my God, this is the next best thing. I beatbox. I love beatboxing. I love hip hop. So I'm just going to buy this machine or a version of it. And I'm going to start taking with me to open mics and to shows, And so that's what I did. I bought this, I bought this loop station. It was for the foot, but I had to end up using it for the hands, So I bought it to all these open mics, and I was getting some traction, because at the time nobody was doing it in the open mic circuit. Nobody was doing any kind of this stuff,
Mm-hmm.
And I remember one of my friends, which will be nameless for
obvious reasons coming
for
up.
obvious reasons.
Mhm.
And he's still good friends of mine. I remember because he was a comedian at the time. Because I was doing sets with him all around town, and I guess he witnessed me or witnessed the audience just loving what I do. And so one day, we were booked on the same show, and he kind of bought the same kind of he bought the same loop station, bought the same microphone, got the same. Basically, I saw that, and I didn't even know, and he just brought it. He performed. He did great, and
you went on after him.
I forgot that night, but I think I went on after or before. I don't know, but I do remember looking at that, and going, "He's stealing my act. He's stealing what I kind of built as an original idea." Right. And I was just torn up inside. And I just remember
because he was a friend too.
He was a friend.
Yeah.
You know, and I just remember taking him to the side, and I didn't want to be blamed, but I was like, man, I mean, it was like kind of like passive aggressive. You know, I was like, hey, man, let me know how that thing works out for you. Okay. I was like,
right.
So
that was,
you know,
so did he know how mad you were?
I don't know. Because I never really.
You weren't straight with him.
I wasn't straight.
Yeah. Because that's hard to do.
It's hard to do, and it took me a couple days. It really did take me a couple days. And now I know that line, imitation is the greatest form of flattery.
Yeah.
You know, and it didn't just take me a couple days. I'm gonna be transparent. It took me a couple months. Okay. And I'm like, look,
but that's
man,
the kind of thing that a friendship could completely be destroyed over.
It is.
Right?
It is. Yes.
I remember, we want to hear something really stupid. When I was in high school, and I found these shoes that I really wanted. And back in the day, you could do something, put something on layaway. If you couldn't afford to buy it, you'd put $10 down and then like come back every week. I think John Travolta does it in Saturday Night Fever. You come back every week. So I had found these shoes and I was at an age where
Hold on. So you rent the shoes?
No, you put $10 down. They put the shoes aside, and every week you come back and pay a little more until you can pay the whole thing.
Oh,
right.
Okay.
So I had found these shoes, and I came to my dance class that I had in high school and told everybody about these shoes and described them and told them where I got them. And like, I was in love with these shoes. And these were just a fucking pair of shoes. Okay. and the next day, one of my friends showed up wearing
with those shoes.
Kriss, I wept. You would have thought that she took a kidney. Like, it was like ridiculous.
My goodness.
So, but to me, those shoes represented something. But this is even more. You did this thing, had been for a long time wanting to include music in your act and had found your way, were getting good response, and then he swoops in and does it too. Did you talk to friends about it? Did you get advice? Is like, what do I say to him?
I did. I talked. Yeah, I did.
What did your friends say?
Man, it was just a hodgepodge of just different opinions. You know, he's your friend. You know, like, you shouldn't feel because, you know, it's a good act. So don't be, you know. Of course, imitation is a great form of flattery. They're just, you know, they know you got something, and they're just trying to. And now I'm just like, if anybody wants to do it, I don't care now, because I'm like, look, it'll put me up on my feet, you know. I mean, what's an artist without being pushed? You know what I mean? So at that time, I was just young and naive. And, you know,
And did it get in the way of your creativity? Did you find like
it did? It did for that first couple months, because I was like, man, what am I gonna do now? Because I felt like, okay, well, I guess this is gone. I guess I can't do this anymore because somebody else stole it, which is completely stupid, because it should be, okay, well, this guy got the same thing. Let's do it on the merits, and let's see who has the better jokes.
Yeah, exactly. Because here's the thing, I'm a writing teacher and a writer, and I always say to my students, because there's always this fear, oh, everything's been said, and how do I be original, and oh, I'll never be as good as this person. Well, no, you're not ever going to be as good as this person. You aren't that person. So even if this friend of yours went on and even did your act, he can't bring to it what you can bring to it.
That's exactly
right. And that's the thing we have to remember, and so, but you guys are still friends.
We're still friends. Yeah. I mean,
did you ever tell him how you really felt, how it really upset you?
I mean, I'm not going to say fortunately, but what ended up happening was he kind of quit stand-up comedy and kind of got into the arts. And, he has a big social media following as far as the kind of abstract art that he does, But I don't know when I'm going to bring the story up to him. I don't think ever, It did bug me for that brief time when that happened. But I'm to an age now where I'm just like, look, man, that was just being young and stupid. And I don't know if it, I don't know, because I felt like it wasn't petty because it was just so blatantly obvious that, look, man, if you bought a Ferrari with the same, with whatever color you want, whatever tires, what kind of sound system you want, and then your friend shows up with the same exact thing, how would you feel?
But this is
like
worse.
You had an original.
No, but this is worse because this is worse because you're talking about somebody's art. So it's worse but it sounds like you learned a lesson from it. It sounds like you walked away. So you have this period for 2 months where you're kind of, you can't create and you feel like, what's the point? Because he's done it. When you came back, how did you make your way back?
Well, I made my way back day by day. It was very, very baby steps. But then every day, I didn't start meditating. I started meditating later in my life after that. But there was a point where I was like, why am I even thinking this way? He's a good friend. He's not trying to be nefarious. He's just trying to be creative.
Yeah.
He's just trying to find an avenue, And at some point I realized, like, why am I even taking this energy and using it? Because it was affecting everybody that I knew.
Oh, because you couldn't stop thinking about it.
Yeah, I couldn't stop thinking about it. So it was affecting even though I didn't say it, it was affecting my relationships with other people. And I was like, I don't know what day it was. I just noticed, like, I can't let this one thing affect everything.
Yeah.
And I was like, I just learned to let it go day by day, I guess.
Yeah.
So
well, there's a saying that, when you're resentment is when you're refeeling something, right? So that's when you have a resentment. So if you're refeeling what somebody did, there's an expression that they're renting space in your brain, right? They're not over there thinking about it. Their day's not fucked up about it. But if they're renting space in your brain, and it takes effort to go, how do I let go of this? What is this? Like, you asked really good questions. What is this buying me? Why am I holding on to it? And I don't really know or have an opinion whether it's right or wrong or good or bad, even saying something to him, because it's like, what if you said something, what would you say? Yeah. And I think, I don't even know, like, I don't have clarity about like what the right thing would be to say, because when it's a friend, it just gets, but I do think that clearing the air can be good, but it sounds like you guys are okay.
I mean, it's like one of these where he's not doing stand-up comedy. So he's not I'm not saying a threat or something. It's like
you guys aren't in the same lane anymore.
Yeah, it's like it makes no sense to bring that story up. I mean, probably after a couple drinks, I don't know what I'll say. Like, hey, do you remember that one time I was really pissed off at you, dude?
There you go. I was really pissed off at you, dude. Yeah. And because I do think there's something nice about, airing your feelings, because that also creates connection and I don't know how close of a friend he is, but if that old feeling is getting in the way of you guys really connecting, then it would be worth it, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't think it's worth it because our connection's strong now. You know what I mean? So it doesn't, again, it doesn't need to be
And look,
brought
if
up.
he listens to this podcast, it's all
If
out
he
in the
listens to this
open.
podcast, it's a podcast. I love, I love the dude. You know, me and my wife love him. So,
That's good. That's good.
And it worked out. At the end, it worked out. You know what I mean? It worked out for everybody.
It worked out. And the good news is that even though you went through those 2 months of like, damn, you know, really feeling sort of like you got punched in the stomach or something, you know, like
more felt like I got stabbed in the stomach.
Like somebody took your art, somebody took your passion, somebody took your ideas. Man.
It was hurtful. And I was so livid. I remember that day. It was at the Barney's Beanery in Pasadena. As I saw him do, my jaw dropped. I was just like, I had laser focus. I'm like, how the obscenities being yelled at my head. I was like, how the could you even think about that? I'm your friend.
Yeah. Yeah. So you were hurt.
Oh man.
You were angry, but you were also hurt because you felt like you were
was angry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
If I was an Incredible Hulk, man, I would have turned, well, I'm brown, so probably a purple. You know what I mean?
You would have gone past green to brown and then purple. So if somebody's had a similar thing, do you have any advice for them if they've felt, well, maybe that somebody took their idea or even a friend took their idea? What would you say helped you get over it?
Time and patience and understanding. That's what I think helped me pass over those feelings, and just a sense of maturity, I would say, because even though it is, I would say it took me a couple months. It really did take me like probably more than that just to be a little bit more mature with things and for me to be, to be able to talk to other people about my experience and what I should do. You know, like every input was important, and just to sit back and reflect. As solitude could, you know, when you sit down by yourself and just meditate on whatever you're feeling and not even think about the future, just at the moment, it really does a lot of stuff for your brain psychologically. And I think, I think there's been a couple times where I just sat down like, why even do it? It's not like he was saying my jokes. He was just, it was like, look, and this was a very important moment. I do remember going, and who did I steal this idea from? I got it from Reggie Watts and Mark Ribier and everybody that's in that space. So I was like, you know what? I mean, I took it from Reggie Watts.
Yeah.
You know, but I bought a different machine, but essentially it was the same thing.
Right. So you got it and so you were inspired by them because you really dug what they were doing. So then you did it. But because they didn't know you, there was none of this, you know, weird electricity around it. But then when your friend did it, because he was inspired by you.
Yeah. And that's it was like an M. Night Shyamalan film. It's like, as soon as I realized that, I'm like, oh my God, he's really the Sixth Sense. He's really, oh my God, he's really dead.
Oh my God, Bruce Willis is dead.
Yeah, Bruce Willis is dead. Oh my God. Or like The Usual Suspects with you remember that? Yeah. They're like, oh my God, this is the guy. Like, that's exactly what I thought. Like, oh man, then
you look at the whole thing, you go back and you look at the whole thing differently.
Yeah, way differently.
That's really good. That's so good.
2% resentment. 2% out of 100.
All right. So you're human. You're human.
Way to justify that, Nelsie. Well, you're human. No,
but you could still be pissed off about it. And you could still be coming from a point of view of sort of outrage and all of that versus like, oh, right, I took this idea from somebody, you know? So yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, that's a good story. That's a good story because it's about
human struggle.
Well, it's about humility and being willing to see your part in it. And your part in it was like, first of all, you're letting it get you so upset. And also, oh, I got this idea from somebody else. But you also reached out to people and said, help me out here. I don't know how to handle this, which is an important thing to do, right? That's an important thing to do. Yeah.
And I try to talk to people that knew him or that at least wasn't connected to him, just to get a different perspective. You know, when you talk to other people, it really does. I mean, the more you talk to people, I think the more focused your perspective will be. And I think that's always a positive thing, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. To get different points of view from different
to
people.
get different points of view, because you just with a situation like that, you're just so laser focused. You're just you have blinders and you're just thinking about all this stuff without thinking about all the rest of it.
With the big picture. Yeah. So we end the podcast with 3 questions, and yeah, because if you get them wrong, you're in such
Gosh
trouble.
Damn it.
They're all math problems. No, I'm kidding.
Oh God, I'm Asian. I should be good. I should be good for this.
Yeah, come on, Kriss. Come on.
I'm an accounting major. Let's do this.
Where's your pocket protector? So the first question is there something you hope to lose in the next year?
Ego.
Good.
I want to lose a lot of my ego. There's, of course, like every stand-up comedian, there's always an ego. There's always some sort of
like every human on the planet, except for maybe the Dalai Lama. Okay.
Yeah, and I just want to be at this point where I understand there'll always be some sort of ego, but I want there to be a point where I don't care about what people think about me. You know what I mean? I just want to see all this sense of just like that, just ego go away, you know?
Good. That's a great goal. And is there something you hope to gain in the next year?
Shoot. Humor.
Yeah. You got to turn up the funny, Kriss.
Something that I'm willing to gain other than more. I mean, I'm already happy now.
That's great.
You know, if it wasn't materialistic, I would say
you're allowed to be materialistic.
Am I allowed to be materialistic?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. If that's the case, well, of course, like money. I mean, this is like the common thing.
Yeah, you'd like to increase your income. You'd like to have more abundance. You'd like to have more prosperity.
I would like to have more abundance monetizing my creativity. Not,
Fantastic. See, here's the thing. Because I meditate and I do affirmations and I do visualizations. I do all that stuff, right?
I meditate too. I love you.
Yeah, it's fantastic, right? And when I'm thinking, and a lot of the stuff that I do is about wanting to create abundance, because that's been a piece of my puzzle that's come on very late in my life, right? I've had all sorts of interesting successes, but let's just say I haven't made the money I wanted to make. Let's just put it that way. And when I started thinking about that, because we worry that that's materialistic, look, if I'm making a lot of money, I can employ people. I can go out to dinner. I can go to the movies. And when I do that, I am tipping someone. So a chef can have a salary. So abundance is a good thing.
Yeah.
It's nice to be abundant. It's not some, if we want to get it just so we can, I don't know. I don't have anything against Ferraris or a Gucci bag. I don't. It's not my thing. That's not where I would spend the money. But when I think about being more prosperous, part of it has to do with being able to share my vision, share my own, like shine my light. And that's just what you said. You want to have more prosperity in relation to your creativity.
Yeah. But at the same time, I also see, just to play devil's advocate for a second, I also see the other side where people revolve their life around the monetary policy of their lives, around big money. And I like some of my best friends, they make a lot of money. They work 60, 70-hour work weeks, but they're completely miserable. They don't have time to go to the gym. They don't have time to make solitude. You know what I mean? They don't have time to that. They don't have time to flourish the foundation of their relationships. So I do see the other, and it's tough to balance the two, because you need the two. That's what human beings are supposed, I mean, hey, if I could make $1 million just live streaming and doing stand-up comedy and just doing stand-up comedy at night and having all day just to walk with my dogs and my wife and just sitting at the park, that would be my dream.
All right.
You know what I mean?
All right. Here's my magic wand. Ding, and so be it. Yes, exactly. Okay, good. Okay, so that's something you hope to gain in the next year. And question number 3, is there something you hope you never lose?
Oh, if there's something I'll never lose is my love for the foundations of my relationships, basically. For the love of my wife, for the love of my sister. You know what I mean? Like, I hope I'll never lose that, because I don't think I will. I think the foundation with me is pretty strong.
Because you're like a little love machine. Like, you seem like
you
have
no idea. That's what my wife says. Come on.
I'm just a love machine. No, but you have this sweetness about you. You have an enthusiasm about you, and so I can see that.
I hope I will never lose like my modesty and my humbleness. You know what I mean? Like I don't want to be conceited. I don't want to be superficial. You know, like I always try to hook up my other friends with book shows that I've been on. You know, I try to bring my friends and be like, hey, why don't you go with me? You'll meet this booker and I'll vouch for you. Like, you know, I'm
generosity. It's very powerful.
What's that saying? Like, the way to enrich your lives is to enrich
others. Absolutely. When I made a big shift financially, I was working with a life coach, and she said, you have to stop thinking about getting and start thinking about giving.
Yeah, that's so powerful. That's so great. Yeah, that's...
Yeah, right? And it was oh my God. And when she said it was yeah, wow. So my energy, I had this energy shift from why aren't you giving me stuff? Or why don't you see me? Or why am I not to what do I have to give you? How can I enrich you? And my God, I'm so much happier. Because I'm not like a little fucking vacuums trying to suck shit from other people. Pardon my French, but you know what I mean? And it had to do with my own hole in my heart, you know, and my own sort of woundedness that I thought was going to be filled by getting. And you get so much more from giving.
Yes, 100%. But I do have an Ayn Rand kind of selfishness is a virtue kind of thing, because it's people take that out of context. Like, when you're being selfish, I mean, for me, I would like to be more happy, and for me to be more happy is to flourish the relationships around me. It's not give me. It's the more things I have in my possessions, the more that I'm willing to give out. You know,
right?
so,
and also, if I don't know, I mean, I'm clearly a lot older than you, but I'm still figuring shit out, you know. But
I think, but that's the human condition, right?
Self-care is not selfishness, and self-care is really important.
But a lot of people conflate the two.
Being a healthy person. Exactly. Right. Because you got to fill yourself up. You know, you can't be an empty vessel. You have to fill yourself up. And how do we do that? By self-care. And, you know, it's different for different people. Well, Kriss, this was fantastic.
Oh, you're not done yet. I need you to do something, Nelsie.
What?
I need you to, if you could just make me a promise, say, Kris Rubio, I promise to do this. Say it right now.
Kris Rubio, I promise to do this.
You will find an open mic in New Jersey, and you will do it again just for once, just one day.
Listen to me.
Just one day.
Honey, I did it in 2017 a bunch of times. I did stand up New York. I did the open mic there, I don't know, 4 times. And then I did an open mic down here a couple of times. And I fucking loved it. I loved it.
Okay.
I did. So, I love doing stand-up.
You're not completely done, right?
You know, if I came to LA and listen to me. If I came to LA and I visited you and you said, oh my God, come do 5 minutes somewhere, I would do it.
Oh my God. And I would book us for the most horrible show ever.
Fine. Do it. I would do that. I swear to God, I would do that.
Okay.
First of all, I'd just come and see you do a set, because I would love to do that. But if you said, oh, look, you can do 5 minutes, I would do it, because I think I'm hysterical.
Oh, see? Talk about narcissistic. Talk about letting go of the ego.
I just have incredible taste. No, I'm funny. I grew up with a lot of dysfunction, and humor was one of the ways I survived it. So I happen to be a funny person. Thank you, Jesus or whoever, I just happen to be a funny person. And I'm a little bit of a ham, even though I can be an introvert. Like if I go to a party, I'm like, oh, I don't want to have to go because I don't know anybody. So I'm an introvert in that way, but I'm also, I'm a little bit of a ham, which I think most comics need to be. Don't you think?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. All right. So I promise you, Kris Rubio, that when I come to LA, if you get me 5 minutes somewhere in some dive bar, I'll do it.
Yes, perfect. At the basement in front of a loud refrigerator for sure.
I'll do it. And you guys all heard it. You heard it here. All right. So now one more time, where can people find you?
People could find me on my YouTube channel at Kris Rubio Artist, or my Instagram and my Facebook, both titled Kris Rubio Artist. And you could also find me on my new platforms, Minds and Odyssey, at Kris Rubio Artist as well.
Oh,
so
awesome.
My live stream goes every Tuesday, Saturday, 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. All across all major social media platforms. That includes Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and I think that's about it for now. Yeah.
Instagram. Did you say Instagram?
Instagram. Yeah, sure.
Sure.
It's like I have to put a phone up right here, and
it's a drag. No, YouTube. Go to YouTube, guys. We all love YouTube.
Go to YouTube.
We love it. All right. Well, this was fantastic. Thank you so much, guys. Go see Kris Rubio. Check him out. Watch his live stream. Check him out on YouTube. Yeah, that's it. Thanks for coming.
Thank you for having me, Nelsie. You're the best. Again, I apologize for being late because I'm Filipino. Sorry.
I forgave you even before you said you were sorry. Like I was like, shit happens. I wasn't like that fucking Kris Rubio, man. I'm like, you know what? He'll never work in this town again.
This is how she really feels, guys. This is how she really feels.
Yeah. So there you have the very funny, very sweet, and high energy Kris Rubio. I kind of can't picture him ever sleeping. First of all, he's been doing stand-up for so long, and he sounds like he's a really generous guy. He's like, I will get people, he's always trying to get people other gigs, people that are coming up. So I love that about him. But I think that whole idea of feeling like you've been betrayed by a friend, that's kind of a big deal.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's our letter for next week.
Okay.
Right? So if anybody out there has been betrayed or maybe felt betrayed, maybe you weren't in fact betrayed, but you felt like you'd been betrayed by a close friend, write us at losingitcontact@gmail.com, and we'll read it on the show and let us know what happened. And did you get over it? And if so, how did you get over it? Have you been betrayed by a friend, Ronnie Whaley?
Yeah, for sure. And now I have no friends.
Yeah. But you don't have time for friends. Who has time for friends, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think that's good. I think that's a good letter. And okay, this is a good one. This is from Jackie Cation.
This is because of Jackie.
Yeah, this is not from Jackie. This letter was inspired by Jackie's episode where she talks about losing her mom really young and this stepmom coming in who was not the easiest stepmom. But looking back, she had a lot of respect and appreciation for the things that her stepmom brought to the table. So the question was something that happened that at the time you didn't appreciate it, but looking back. All right. So here we go. Hi, Nelsie. My mom told me that I get to choose the person I become. All you have to do is keep that thought in your head when making decisions. Also, every action has a reaction, so make sure that reaction will be a good one. It wasn't something I really listened to at the time. Now those thoughts stay with me all the time, and I have definitely become a better person for it. Tina. Thank you, Tina.
Good advice.
Yeah, I like that. You get to choose the person you become. Keep that thought in your head every time you're making a decision, and every action has a reaction. And make sure that reactions will be good ones. I think that's good. And I don't think I ever had a discussion with my parents about what kind of person I was going to become. Did you?
What do you mean person?
Well, like, do you want to be a good friend? You want to be loyal? You want to be honest? You want to be empathetic or sympathetic? Like, I don't think anybody was ever, it was just sort of like, I guess in my family, my mom was like, you're wearing that? Why aren't you wearing a bra? And where are you going? And what time? There wasn't any sort of discussion about character.
Yeah.
Did you have those discussions?
Yeah, I feel like my dad has really, he kind of did that, but it wasn't, as formal. It wasn't like, we're going to talk about this. It was more in passing. It was more because of things that happened, and I feel like he made sure that I grew up to be a person that people wanted in their lives. You know what I mean? Because he also, one of the things that one of the pieces of advice that he gave me that I, realized that I didn't realize then, I didn't realize till now, is that happiness is a choice. And when he told me that at the time, I was like, I don't understand that really. But then later on, I realized, I'm like, oh yeah, happiness is a choice. It's something you decide. You could be bummed out and be depressed or have life suck the whole time. But then if you decide to have a better outlook in life and decide that you want to be happy, then that's on you to do that.
Yeah.
So, I didn't realize it till later.
That's a big shift to make too.
I think so.
To go from like happiness is a choice. It's like, no. And I think I'll speak for myself. I think that for me, it took me a really long time to realize that somewhere along the line, I was getting something out of identifying myself as the victim, identifying myself as the person who was broken, and it's sort of like if there were a lot of different, like if I'm broken, then I don't really, just then the fact that I just brush my teeth and put my shoes on, like I should get a ticker tape parade. You know what I mean? Like I'm so broken. My childhood was so hard. And by the way, I don't really think this anymore. And parts of me never thought that, but there's something about being the victim where you're let off the hook. Mm-hmm. Like if I'm then you don't have to do well. Which I think ties into happiness being a choice. Right? Because you can look at your life like, my childhood was so bad, or this was so bad. And not to mock anybody who's had a hard childhood. Or you can go, where am I today? And what are the good things? Having an attitude of gratitude, not to sound really like a Hallmark card. But all right. So really the last thing I want to say is don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe. Please tell your friends. It means a lot if you subscribe to the podcast, and rating and reviewing is a plus. You can listen wherever fine podcasts are available. You can watch us on YouTube, where you can also subscribe and you can make comments. If you want to contact us, you can contact us at losingitcontact@gmail.com. And you can follow us on Instagram and Twitter and
TikTok,
of course, at Losing It Podcast. And so beyond that, my last advice to you is don't poop in the ocean.
Losing it, losing it, losing it, losing it, losing it, losing it. You came and you listened to the story. I hope so much that it didn't make you sorry, and I hope so much that you'll come back again.
Losing It, hosted by Nelsie Spencer, produced by me, Ronnie Whaley, theme song by Hunter Williams. Follow us online on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and all podcasting platforms at Losing It Podcast. Viewers can email Nelsie with questions or comments about life, writing, comedy, or even your own Losing It story for a chance to be on the Losing It Podcast at losingitcontact@gmail.com. For everything Nelsie and everything Losing It, visit us at nelsiespencer.com.